Welcome to our channel, Economics Completed, which deals with economic history, economic theory, geopolitics, and international economic policy. This video will be the start of a 3-video-long series dealing with the economic history of China in depth. We will delve into this journey starting around the year 0 with the Han Dynasty, which ruled China from 206 before the Common Era to 220 Common Era. The Han Dynasty is renowned for its economic achievements and innovations that laid the foundation for the empire's growth and stability. It was founded by Liu Bang, who ascended the throne after the fall of the Qin Dynasty and became known as Emperor Gaozu. The Han Dynasty quickly established itself as one of the most powerful and influential dynasties in Chinese history. Its rule was marked by political stability, territorial expansion, and significant economic reforms. As always in ancient empires, agriculture formed the backbone of the Han economy. The Han rulers promoted agricultural production through 3 main measures. Firstly, they implemented land reforms that redistributed land more equitably and strengthened the rights of farmers. Secondly, they promoted technological innovations like the introduction of the iron plow and the use of oxen for plowing, which both increased agricultural efficiency and productivity on a large scale. Besides, water wheels and treadmills were 2 important innovations as well used for irrigation, expanding arable land and yields. The development and maintenance of irrigation systems, including canals and dams, which played a crucial role in ensuring a stable water supply for fields, marks the 3rd measure, which lead to a higher yield per hectare. In addition to agriculture, handicrafts were an important economic sector during the Han Dynasty. As well, the Han Dynasty saw significant advancements in metallurgy. The production of iron was revolutionized by the use of blast furnaces and cast iron. This led to the manufacture of better tools, weapons, and agricultural implements. The production of silk and textiles flourished. Silk became a major export and played a central role in international trade. Furthermore, the Han government established state monopolies on salt and iron to control production and generate revenue. These monopolies significantly contributed to funding state projects. Trade, both within China and internationally, flourished during the Han Dynasty. The expansion of the Silk Road under the Han emperors promoted trade with Central Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. This facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies, and strengthened economic and cultural connections. But also domestic trade was supported by a well-developed network of roads and canals that facilitated the transport of goods within the empire. Marketplaces in cities and villages promoted trade and the exchange of goods. The Han Dynasty did also introduce a unified currency and promoted the development of banking. The use of copper coins as the standard currency facilitated trade and contributed to economic stability. Additional typical technological and scientific innovations at this time were the paper production due to its invention by Glahn around the year 105, which revolutionized writing and administration. Paper replaced more expensive materials such as silk and bamboo, making writing and managing documents more efficient and cost-effective. Also, Han scientists developed advanced astronomical instruments and improved the Chinese calendar, supporting agriculture and navigation. Significant advances in medicine, including the development of herbal medicines and acupuncture, improved healthcare and the well-being of the population. Despite this exceptional progress, in the beginning of the 3rd century, the Han Empire collapsed mainly because of a harsh conglomeration of defiances like external threats by nomadic tribes, internal threat from local warlords, corruption, and natural disasters. The Sui Dynasty, despite its short-lived existence of only 37 years, was considered one of the great dynasties of the Chinese Empire. Under its rule, the country was reunified for the first time in 581 Common Era, after a long period of fragmented central power since the fall of the Han Dynasty in 220. A remarkable project of this era was the construction of the Grand Canal, which connected the Yellow River with the Yangtze River and provided the logistical foundation for domestic trade. The canal enabled the transport of grain and other goods over long distances and strengthened the economic integration of the empire. However, the most famous innovation of Sui Dynasty is the imperial examination system, formally introduced in the year 605 under the reign of Emperor Yang of Sui. This system marked a significant break from the tradition where officials primarily entered public service through inheritance or personal connections. Instead, a system based on exams and academic achievements was established to select qualified candidates for public service. By the Tang Dynasty, following the Sui Dynasty, and reigning till the year 907, the imperial examination system was further developed and institutionalized. Examinations were held more regularly and gained importance. The contents was standardized and focused on the Confucian classics, poetry, and essay writing. This led to a meritocratic administration. Besides, the Tang emperors strengthened the central government and introduced an efficient administrative system consisting of various ministries and provincial administrations. This system improved administrative efficiency and control over the empire. The dynasty also introduced the so-called fubing system, which is a militia system in which soldiers alternated between military service and farming. This system reduced the costs of maintaining a standing army while ensuring a well-trained and ready military force. Economically, the Tang era experienced a period of economic prosperity and cultural flourishing again. The capital, Chang'an, became one of the largest and most cosmopolitan trade centers in the world. Maritime trade expanded significantly, supported by the development of advanced shipbuilding technologies, such as paddle wheel boats and the use of compasses for navigation. Another significant innovation was the introduction of paper money, which facilitated trade and increased economic flexibility. With the new Song Dynasty, one of the greatest empires of all time emerged. This dynasty, which ruled China from 960 to 1279, is known for its impressive economic and technological innovations. This period is considered one of the most significant in Chinese history, as it was marked by remarkable economic prosperity and numerous groundbreaking inventions. Song China, around the beginning of the 13th century, stood on the brink of an industrial revolution. This statement becomes understandable when considering the economic leaps that occurred previously in many different leading sectors. Through the invention of artificial irrigation, the emergence of wet rice cultivation in southern China, and the introduction of the so-called Champa rice for increased drought resistance for harvest up to 3 times per year, agriculture achieved a growing surplus capacity. By the 13th century, the level of agricultural development reached was comparable to the agricultural revolution in 18th century England. Surplus in agriculture is the foundation of any civilization, as it allows for reserves to be set aside for crop failures and supports a superstructure consisting of the military and political office holders. Gradually, Chinese agriculture, based on these new innovations, became so productive that human labor could expand into other sectors on a scale likely unprecedented in human history. While the population had stagnated at around 60 million for many centuries until the year 1000, it reached a total of 100 million by 1300, accounting for an estimated quarter of the world's population. Only based on this abundance of labor is it understandable how the Song Dynasty managed to build a globally unique transport network of canals, bridges, and roads, primarily to supply the large cities in the north from the surplus regions along the Yangtze River. Hundreds of thousands of people must have been available for construction, maintenance, and transport of goods alone. Meanwhile, the army consisted of 1.25 million men as well. In 1065, the defense budget reportedly accounted for an incredible 83% of state revenues, mainly to secure the northern border. Economically, the textile industry developed machines, such as the hemp spinning machine with water power developed by 1313 at the latest, which were technically on par with what Europe would only achieve 500 years later. The developing iron industry reached production quantities around 1100 that Great Britain would not achieve until 1800. The use of stone instead of exclusively charcoal paved the way for steel production. Europe's energy-intensive industrial sectors could only develop with the puddling process invented in 1784. The shipbuilding industry built around 1,500 ocean-going Fuso ships per year, a magnitude that no European sea power ever reached. Qualitatively, they were at least on par with European ocean-going ships 500 years later. Further innovations in the shipbuilding industry included tide tables, the telescope, and the sounding line. The Portuguese only reached the nautical capabilities of the sun from 1450 onwards. The Song Dynasty recorded a consistently positive trade balance, which was maintained by China until the 19th century, indicated by the continuous influx of silver. It exported manufactured goods such as silk fabrics, porcelain, lacquerware, tea, pharmaceuticals, paper, books, copper and iron goods, sugar, preserved fruits and salt, and imported precious metals, ivory, pearls, wood for shipbuilding, horses, and spices. By the mid-12th century, state revenues from private overseas trade were up to 10%, with a customs burden of about 20%. The sea routes extended 500 years before the Portuguese to the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and East Africa, where they acted as intermediaries for Indian spices. This abundance of economic revolutions was only possible due to the stable governance of the Song and was fueled by state-sponsored scientific revolutions. Systematic experiments were conducted primarily in mathematics, medicine, chemistry, and astronomy. The state published textbooks, such as the Principles of Agriculture and Sericulture in 1273, or an Introduction to Mathematics in 1299. The disputes at the imperial court in the 11th century demonstrate the already advanced economic sciences. Due to a financial crisis, two different approaches to overcoming it developed, resembling today's bipolar narrative structure of economic sciences. The moderate reform wing around Sima Guang recommended a substantial withdrawal of the state from the economy. The other wing, led by the more Confucian-oriented Wang Anqi, advocated for increased state interventions. When the second wing prevailed, a three-offices financial commission was introduced, consisting of the Salt and Iron Monopoly Office for mining, shipping, and trade, the Office of Public Revenues for budget and tax collection, and the Office for the Regulation of the Household for managing and distributing state revenues. Additionally, the state examination system was reformed so that officials received a monetary salary instead of in-kind benefices. Economically significant was the introduced joint venture system, where the state provided trading ships operated by private individuals. The profit was divided in a 7-to-3 ratio in favor of the state. This joint venture model laid the foundation for the success of the Venetian trade navy hundreds of years later. State institutions that can explain this spectacular scientific and economic success include the state examination system and the tributary system. The state examination system, which can be traced back to Confucian thinking because it placed officials instead of priests in key positions of the community, at least theoretically served to identify the most capable male candidates from all social classes for public positions. This gave the absolutist empire meritocratic features and promised social mobility for the most diligent and educated. The tributary system, as a hegemonic institution, regulated foreign policy. Surrounding states had to bring tribute to the Chinese emperor, reinforcing the concept of the Middle Kingdom. Although the tributary system was more of a reciprocal exchange than a unilateral tribute, with the Chinese side sometimes giving away more valuable goods than it received, it ensured a symbolic containment of foreign political power play. In commercial and military terms, the second half of the 12th century marked the peak of the Song Navy. The Arab middlemen of long-distance trade to Europe could have already been bypassed by circumnavigating Africa. However, around 1200, the fleet was significantly reduced, and thus foreign trade as well. Possible reasons for this include costs, wars with the Jin, the influence of conservative and isolationist court circles, and awareness of the emerging Mongolian challengers, which in fact did end the era of the Sung Dynasty. In the decisive naval battle of 1279, the 13,000 Mongolian warships were able to defeat the 12,750 ships of the Chinese. By comparison, in the historically significant Armada Battle of 1588 in the English Channel, the ship ratio was 141 to 87. The Mongol conquest led to the Yuan dynasty under Kublai Khan from 1279 to 1368. This foreign rule was ended by the Ming Dynasty, which empire structure we will discuss in the second video to the economic history of China coming soon. That's it for today. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Stay tuned for the next videos in which we will continue our journey through the economic history of China. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated with our latest content. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up to support this brand new channel. See you next time.